President, please be seated.
អង្គជំនុំជម្រះប្រកាសបន្តកិច្ចបម្រើការនីតិវិធីសមាការ
The court is now in session. The chamber continues hearing the testimony of Nguyen Trec. The floor is given to the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Jie to put questions to address. And the defense team, the two defense teams still have one session today because you have used one session already.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, good afternoon. I will be continuing my questions from yesterday. Yesterday afternoon when we broke, you were speaking about being in the prison office that you indicated as being Tuol Sleng prison. Let me follow up with some questions in respect of your stay there. In your DC Chem statement E3/7537 at English ERN 00251254, French 002911004, and Khmer 0001967. You said that before you were brought to this prison office, that you were told, you were lied to, that they would take you to the international hospital. Who was it that told you that you would be taken to the international hospital?
President, please hold on. You may now proceed first. Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
Thank you, Mr. President. My objection is to the initial comment that led to this question, which was that the witness stated he was at Tuol Sleng. He was asked about this passing comment in his DC Cam interview yesterday, and he clearly said he was not at Tuol Sleng, but that there were people who were brought to that office who were later taken to Tuol Sleng. It's clear from his OCIJ statement he did not know what office he was at. So I think counsel should not be leading the witness or representing that this witness was at Tuol Sleng when he hasn't even asked the witness what office he was at.
Well, I was just rereading the draft transcript from yesterday.
And just give us the reference, makes it easier.
Well, I asked him yesterday about which prison office he thought it was.
Where in the draft transcript?
At the very end. At 1600, so that's yesterday. And I asked him this question because in his DC Chem statement he clearly says on two occasions that he was in that it was the Tuol Sleng prison office. That is on the same page as I just referred to. Yesterday I asked him how did he know it was a Tuol Sleng prison office, and then he gave another answer. So his answer yesterday in combination with his DC Chem statement makes me to understand that the witness is saying that he was at the Tuol Sleng prison office. So I think my question was justified. Whether that is really the case, that is ultimately for the chamber to decide, but I understand the testimony to be that he thought that he was for a few days being interrogated and photographed in the Tuol Sleng prison office.
So why don't we clarify that? Witness, is it your understanding that you for a couple of days have been in the S21 prison office?
No, at the Tuol Sleng prison, that's what he said.
I'm sorry, that's true.
I was brought to the prison office before we were further sent to Tuol Sleng. I did not realize at first that it was Tuol Sleng prison, but there was a comrade telling me and others that you are all here, you will be imprisoned. Later on, this information was learned by my chairman. He came to rescue me, and my chairman says that I had nothing to do with the mistakes leading to prison term. My chairman requested me back so that I could be refashioned. Then, if I could not be refashioned, I would be sent for that prison office.
So that will bring me back to my initial question. Mr. Witness, in your DC Chem statement on the pages that I just referred to, you said before you were brought to the prison office that, quote, they lied to me, telling me that they'd taken me to the international hospital, and I didn't realize either that it was Tuol Sleng prison office. I thought it was the office of the international hospital, so I just sat there and waited. My question to you is, who told you that you'd be going to the international hospital office?
Bong Salau. And upon my arrival at the prison office, Bong Salau was arrested and sent away.
On that same page, you talked about someone who told you that you were in a prison office. You identify this person as Yeet. One second. You said then Yeet, the deputy director of the hospital I worked at, came. He hadn't seen me at work, and so he asked someone about me. He had been told I had been brought here at the prison office by all. Now let me ask you a question first about Yeet. Do you identify Yeet that he was the deputy director of the hospital? Are you sure about that, or are you maybe referring to a person who was chief of logistics of Battalion 314?
Yet was the chief of logistics of Battalion 314. He was my direct supervisor. I served as a medic. He did not see me, so he asked Bong Salau, who was the deputy chief of the logistics. He asked Salau, where is the comrade? Why I don't see him going around and give injection shots? He told you that I had been brought by a vehicle to a place, to another place already, and it was the prison office.
And did Yeet have any form of authority in this prison office, or did he just come in and tell you this? Or what exactly was the reason for your chief, the chief of logistics of Battalion 314, to be there at this prison office?
He went to see all the chief of that prison office. He wanted to take me back for a refashioning since I did not commit any mistakes, and he promised to send me back if I could not be refashioned.
And who was all? He was the office. I think the witness said something without the microphone.
All was the chief of the prison office. He was in charge of forwarding people further to Slang.
And how did you know that?
It was because you came to see all that I learned about that information. My chief wanted to take me back for refashioning. That was the time when I learned about that.
And did you know all before you saw him in that prison office?
I saw his face, but I, at the time, did not know him. Only when I returned, I learned that he was all the one who sent people to Slang.
And was all himself a member of Division 310?
It appears that he was not a member of that division. He was in charge of putting people in chains and then send them further.
Some additional questions about this prison office. Can you recall the inside of that office? Can you describe how it looked like from the inside?
There were guards and there were cuffs and shackles. We were prohibited from moving to any other places since we were considered prisoners. We were not allowed to move.
Did you see other prisoners, or did you see only fellow Division 310 combatants, or do you remember who you saw inside?
The people from my battalion were arrested and sent subsequently. Tang San were also sent to the location and they disappeared.
And can you tell us where exactly inside this prison office your photo was taken? Where was the camera, for instance, that took your photo?
I I was not photographed within the compound of Tuol Sleng. The photo was taken at an office, and the photo was shot in order to be kept, to be included in the biography. At the time, I did not know why they took photograph, and they wanted the photo, so I allowed them to take my photo.
Do you know whether the people who were in charge of this prison office belong to Division 703?
The one who was in charge of that prison mostly were from the divisions of the southwest. I mean, they were from the division of Division 502.
Was it maybe called S22?
I am not aware of S22. I was arrested and sent to that place, and those people disappeared after they had been sent there.
Mr. President, I'll be referring to document E3/5263, which is a WRI from a witness, Sreng T, who talks about a prison belonging to Division 502. More specifically, I'll be referring to English ERN 00282225 and French 002833350. Unfortunately, I don't have a Khmer ERN right now. Mr. Witness, I asked you already. You were not able to look out of the window where you were taken. At the DC Cam statement, in your DC Cam statement, you said it was about 2 to 3 kilometers. This witness that I just referred to speaks about a location called S22, located west of the Tik Laak school. Does that sound in any way somehow familiar?
I cannot recall it. It is 47 years already from that time until now. I was young at the time, and I am getting older now, so my memory does not serve me well.
That's fine, Mr. Witness, no problem. Let me move on. From this prison office, you were subsequently sent to work at Kampong Chhnang airfield. I will be asking you some questions about that. But I first would like to ask you some questions about what you did after you left Kampong Chnang airfield, where did you go then?
I was removed for refashioning since it was said that I was part of the traitorous network. I was from the North Zone, so I was needed for refashioning in Kampong Chnang. I was made to dig dirt at the airfield and burned the explosive. I was made to work from 4 a.m. up until 12 p.m. Then I resumed the work at 1 in the afternoon. Later on, Vietnam attacked that they conducted the attack in 1979, and they said that for comrades who had already been refashioned needed to be sent for the resistance movement against the Vietnamese. I was in Kampong Chnang for refashioning for 3 months. Then I was brought to engage in a war against Vietnam. They said that we had a background in combat, so we were sent for fighting. They sent us from Kampong Chnang to Tak Khmau. We were equipped with weapons. We were put in a fast boat in order to go to attack the Vietnamese. Since I was a medic, I was not sent for the combat, but I was made to be a medic curing wounds for the soldiers.
When you were sent to